In Resident Evil 4 Remake, Leon asks Hunnigan who Cera is, only to find out that he actually worked with Umbrella. And that's why Leon hated him initially, but that was not shown in the original at all. And that is not the only change that happened in the story, because here are 14 more changes in Resident Evil 4 Remake. In the cabin fight where Luis and Leon are fighting other Ganados, it ended with Ashley finding a way out of the cabin, with both Luis and Leon following her to get out of that. Whereas in the original, you fought everyone until they stopped coming. Right after that fight, Luis explains about the infection within Leon and Ashley and what it actually is and how it can be removed. Whereas in the original, he just leaves. And then later on comes in the castle and tells Leon and Ashley on how the eggs might have hatched. But then again, he never explains anything else. So I really love that Luis was the one who explained to both Leon and Ashley that this is what's happening inside your body, and it happened to him too. Right after that scene, Luis meets Ada, who is asking him about Amber, and Luis mentions how he can still find it. That scene is not present in the original, which I again really appreciate. At one point in time, Mendez finds Leon again and is coming after them along with other Ganados, and Leon and Ashley somehow escape him with that bridge breaking, something that just never happened in the original. When Leon and Ashley are in the castle, Ashley's infection suddenly turns up, and she was going to kill herself and Leon, and she starts stepping away before the cage suddenly closes and separates Leon and Ashley. She then snaps out of that infected zone and runs away scared that she was going to do something horrible like that. But in the original, Ashley just ran away because she started coughing blood, and then the cage closed. Again, in the remake, it really brings up that intensity. It's similar to that of Village on how Lady Dimitrescu was speaking. It was that tone, and I love that. While Leon is searching for Ashley, he meets Ada inside the castle where Ada and Leon do a hand-to-hand combat, and then she leaves with a warning. Whereas in the original, they meet in a completely different area, with Ada doing a full flip and catching her gun while Leon coming close to her with a knife. And then she leaves with a flashbang using her glasses. In the original, that scene is insane, and I sort of missed that flip that she was doing because it's kind of iconic. I really wanted her to do a flip, but again, I don't mind this scene either. By the way, speaking of Ada, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Ada in the remake? I know a lot of people do not like her voice that much. What do you think? When Leon finds Ashley, she was crying, thinking about what she would have done to Leon and herself. And then she finds out that Leon is also infected. And there's this heartfelt moment sort of, where they decide to do this together and get the hell out of here.
We will beat this. Together.
Whereas in the original, Leon finds Ashley in trouble and you are helping her out a bit from the floor above. And then you play as Ashley to get away from the zealots and the armored statue and then meet Leon. Well, that scene is actually shown in the remake as well moving forward, but these two scenes were combined together in the original, whereas in the remake, they're separate. And I like that because we get to see the vulnerable part of Ashley and how she is a hell of a lot scared. When Leon and Ashley get separated once again, we meet Luis in the mines at the time when our infection is growing stronger and we can barely move. And Luis gives us a temporary cure. We would then go on a full chapter together. We fight two El Gigantes together, we also go through the minecart together, and that is so fun. In the original, none of that ever happens because Luis dies. Speaking of Luis, in the original, he was killed by Sadler, and whatever sample he had with him was taken by Sadler. But in the remake, Luis is killed by Krauser instead, which leads into the Luis and Krauser's knife fight. Luis also separated Krauser and Leon by shooting at him, and then he would smoke his last cigarette before dying. This moment was very touching because the game showed this relationship between Leon and Luis so well that it actually feels bad that Luis is gone. At one point in time, Sadler comes by and stops Leon and Ashley with a Stranger Things pose, and then controls Ashley's infection to almost kill Leon, but instead kills two of his followers and forces Ashley to walk with him as she is trying her best to fight it. In the original, Sadler does separate Ashley with Leon by controlling Ashley's infection in such a way that she is hypnotized and is walking with Sadler. After the Leon and Krauser boss fight, there is a very good goodbye moment between the two, because Krauser said that he really did well teaching Leon. In the original, this scene is just not present, which I wish it did, because in the remake, from the very beginning of the game, it shows how Leon did a training with Krauser, and then we get to know that there is some kind of relationship between Krauser and Leon, and that's why towards the end, it feels bad in some ways that Krauser, died in this way and how he is proud of Leon. When Leon finds Ashley one more time, who is lying on this sacrificial bed, Leon is stopped by Sadler due to his infection. The infection starts growing a lot more in Leon, and it seems like Leon was about to turn, and Sadler is super happy to see both of them turning pretty soon. Then Ada started shooting Sadler, which breaks Leon free, and he carries Ashley to a nearby surgical room, whereas in the original, Ashley is in some kind of a chamber, and the process of turning her is almost ready. When Leon arrives to get to her, he is pushed by Sadler. Then Ada starts shooting Sadler for Leon to take Ashley out of there. It's the same scene, but it's done differently, and I really like the remake scene a lot more because you actually see how Leon is also getting turned at the same time. He could have turned if Ada was not there. As Leon is getting to the surgical room, he gets these hallucinations indicating that he also needs to be cured quickly. The key to the surgical room was given by Luis, and both Leon and Ashley appreciate Luis doing this for them.
So all of this, removing the parasites, this was Luis.
Yeah, we're alive. Thanks to him.
It's a moment that is again not present in the game because in the original, Ashley says,
"This hunk of junk? I don't know about this, Leon."
so I'm happy that they appreciate that Luis did this for them and they're doing this for Luis as well. In the remake, we see Ada talking to Wesker about what he will do with the ember sample that she has. And Wesker says that billions of lives will be destroyed. And Ada then tells the pilot to change the course, showing that she's no longer interested in Wesker anymore. I think so. In the original, we get to see a similar cutscene with Separate Ways DLC, but it's just her going in the helicopter to the sunset. So here we are actually seeing her mind changing about her working with Wesker. I don't know where she's going, but it's interesting to add that here. To be honest, there are tons and tons of changes in this game. Some of the changes people will absolutely love, and some other changes people would actually prefer the original. But without a matter of a doubt, this remake is done so well and it deserves a 10 out of 10. And that is not the only game that has done a remake perfectly as it's supposed to be, because Dead Space Remake came out and it did something incredible. Check this video out to know what happened in that game.